Hello, and thank you for joining. My name is John Vandeveer, staff software engineer with 10 plus years of experience. I am the lead maintainer of Latterly.io, the website in front of us, which is an open source platform to help you land your first or next programming role. Today, we are talking about social media content creation. This is a crash course and this is a unique offering. We are talking about social media content creation for career acceleration and the particular practice which I follow that many people have asked me about. So now you finally get to know the secret sauce. We'll go through the agenda listed here on the right-hand side of the screen. Why we should all create content. Why this course is unique. I'll give you 3 core tools, 3 non-core tools, and 3 next steps to improved quality and performance, and then 4 other tips from established creators. So, what are the benefits of content creation? Here's just some of them, just a list of 5. One is improved learning. One of the reasons that we should all be content creators, let me jump down to the green. We should all be content creators, whether you're a professional or a pre-professional, a student, even a hobbyist. It's going to help you reinforce and improve your learning. This is a massive reason that I tell everyone that they should be creating content, in addition to the fact that we all have something to offer through content creation. So some of the pushback that I'll get is, I'm just a student. Isn't content creation a form of thought leadership for experts in the field? And the answer is no. As a student, you have a unique perspective that's valuable to the experts because you're able to uncover and identify the gaps where students are not being taken care of and the new trends where someone who's been in the field 10 plus years, such as myself, may not have a good grasp on. For example, how are universities dealing with generative AI? It's an interesting gap for another time. I'm doing a different video on that upcoming. So even as a student and then all the way to a senior executive, we all have content that we can offer that someone out there is going to want to consume. And we are all current or future job seekers. So besides improving our learning and improving our communication skill and improving your professional brand and your name recognition and nurturing your network, generating inbound opportunities, besides all of these things, it will also result in inbound opportunities. So I recently was on the job search myself. This is 2024. Over the summer, I was on the job search and 50% of my interview opportunities were inbound, in part due to content creation, in large part due to content creation. And then as a relative junior in the field, you might have a dearth of STAR method behavioral answers. So these are anecdotes. Tell me about a time when you did something. And then the STAR method, we want to have a quantitative result ideally. And it's hard to do that when you're just starting out. Social media content creation gives you an avenue to answer with a quantitative impact because you can look at, I did X and it improved my views. I did X and it improved my users. You can build an open source project and then actually get users on that open source project by spreading the word about it through content creation. So it's going to help you really stand out, particularly as a junior, but all the way up through the senior level, you'll be able to, as an executive, build a brand around yourself and become an industry level figure, a recognized figure in the industry. And that's going to be useful at the upper bound of seniority. Okay, and then why is this course unique? Why are you listening to me instead of Gary Vee? He has a whole lot more followers, doesn't he? Yes, you should not. You can watch till the end. I'll give you a few tips, but the main purpose of this course is not to maximize production quality. I'm really not the expert for that. What I'm good at is doing things in a way that takes very little effort. It's extremely beginner friendly. It can take less than 5 hours of effort per week. You can scale it up if you want to, but you can do this with 1, 2, 3, 4 hours per week if you'd like. Probably not 1, at least 2, I would say. At least 2 hours a week. And in a way that's going to accelerate your job search if you're currently on the job search or your overall career growth. If you're not in a job search now, maybe you'll never be in a career, or maybe you'll never be in a job search again. Even at your current company, brand building is going to be useful. And then perhaps unlike more advanced courses, which are geared towards high production quality, this course will have options that allow you to create a large volume of content at low or zero cost. So those are some of the reasons that this course will be particularly interesting. There's an asterisk here that at the end, I will give next steps that will allow you to raise the bar on the quality of your social media content, but that's not the video's focus. Still, if you're curious about that, stay to the end. I'll say a bit about it. Okay, without further ado, here's the big 3x3, the meat and potatoes of the video. Please don't just read the bullet points and then log off. I'm going to say a bit about each of these. And in addition, after we get through these, there is one more section of the video. Just to remind you, I'll scroll back. There's one more section, 4 other tips from established creators. You don't want to miss that. So while this is the meat and potatoes of the video, this sort of triangle diagram, there's going to be more. There's going to be more. So for the core tools, the main 3 tools that I use for my flavor of content creation are Restream, Opus Clip, and Repurpose.io. And I have the triple asterisk here on Restream. Restream does have a free tier. I have the double asterisk on the core tools title, identifying the fact that these are core tools other than the platforms themselves, other than the social media platforms themselves, which are obviously going to be essential when you're creating social media content. So which platforms am I talking about? Here, I'll call out 7. I actually use a few others. I think I'm experimenting with Kick lately. So I sort of experiment with others. But the core will be these top 5. Even the bottom is, so I went ahead and listed 7, but even the bottom 2, I have personally not seen a lot of career relevant growth on those 2. But I think if you kind of shop around best practices for social media, if you missed Instagram, it's kind of like a red flag. It's kind of considered table stakes. I do post to Instagram, but in all seriousness, I have not seen a lot of growth on my Instagram as a technical content creator. So don't be surprised if you don't either. If you follow the process I'll outline, though, you more or less are able to post over there for free. Like it takes you like 0 additional seconds. So you kind of might as well, but it's not going to grow a lot. Okay, so the main ones that I'm concerned with are YouTube. YouTube is the main driver for what we're going to do is basically kick off a cascade of posts. So we'll post in one place and it will automatically cascade and post into a bunch of other places. That's kind of the secret sauce that I use to get so much volume with so little effort. And YouTube is a really special leader for this purpose because of their extremely high quality API integration and their high quality analytics. TikTok, by contrast, which is often touted as a nice entry point for social media content creators because you can grow quickly despite a low quality of post content. Still, it's not a good driver for this process because their API integration is second best and their analytics are second best. So there's a lot of friction there. So I'm a big fan of TikTok. I have more followers on TikTok than I have on any other platform. But for this process, it's like second best. It's second best. It's not the main driver of the process. And the second reason is we'll want to record streams. YouTube will persist those streams for free. TikTok doesn't. TikTok doesn't. And Twitch doesn't. So you think, oh, streams, like we should go to Twitch, right? Twitch is the stream platform, but it will delete your stream after some time. YouTube will let it stay there permanently. So for a number of reasons, YouTube is really interesting, and I treat it as sort of the source of truth. So without further ado, let's go over to Restream. When I talk about that source of truth, that's going to come back when I get to repurpose, because basically you define a waterfall and it will have one place where it's listening. Oh, you saved a stream, now I'll clone it over here and I'll clone it over here. And that's basically the interesting thing, is that I list it as kind of the kickoff point, YouTube. Okay, so what is Restream? Restream is a tab that I don't have open. Okay, Restream.io. This is the website, Restream.io. And it's going to log me in because I'm logged in. Let me go to Google maybe. And Google Restream.io. Okay, so you can check it out, and it's interesting for the purpose of multi-streaming. Okay, so you set up your recording software, and here I would recommend OBS or OBS Studio. So OBS recording software. This is an open source project. Okay, and not to be confused with Streamlabs. For whatever reason, a lot of people get these mixed up. I think because Streamlabs kind of uses OBS under the hood. I guess maybe that's the reason. And they're both good tools. They're both good tools. So I would recommend one of these. And then you will connect that to a camera. You might connect it to a microphone. I happen to be using a Sony mirrorless. And again, I'm not recommending that everyone go out and buy a Sony mirrorless. In fact, you can get away with less than I've done. So you see I have this sort of ring light and then a background LED. These are interesting things and they're going to matter more as you try to raise the production quality. But frankly, you can get away with less than this. You don't need a dedicated microphone. You can get a like a 1080p webcam. So when I started a couple years ago, I was just using a Logitech tool, and I don't know if it was this exact one, but you can get started for under $100. Okay, so you'll record a stream to YouTube, and you will restream to your other channels or other destinations, and this might include Twitter. And so you're getting a multiplier effect. Facebook pages, Twitch. You're going to have difficulty restreaming to TikTok. It will not allow you. Peculiarities to do with TikTok. Don't worry about it. So we are streaming to our streaming platforms. And again, I'll just reiterate. I like to use YouTube. You can stream to LinkedIn. I do that. Twitter, X, aka X, Twitch. I think I've got them all, and Facebook pages. So I'm streaming over to 5 places. And you can just pick 1 or 2 or 3 of these. If you're going with the free tier, you might be restricted to 3 locations for restream. So YouTube is going to be essential, and then the others are, you're going to sort of test it out, guess and check, do any of them, and then wherever you see the most viewers are, just stick there. It may vary by your location. It may vary by your time of day or weekly schedule where you often stream. So do some A/B testing. The critical one is YouTube, and then the others are sort of wherever you happen to have an account, wherever you feel. Maybe you just already happen to have like a Twitter, but you don't want to make Facebook pages. That's fine. In the minimum case, you can just do YouTube if you like, but you're losing out on that multiplier benefit. So I recommend trying to exhaust the available channel capacity that you have based on your pricing model with Restream. Okay, okay, there you go. The free plan is only 2 channels. So I would go YouTube and pick one other, pick your poison. Personally, I do the professional here. Flex up or down, whatever matches your budget, right? Okay, so you have Restream in place and you're streaming to these places, and now you're done with your stream. So you're gonna do a weekly stream. And I like to do a 1-hour stream. Frankly, you can do less than that. My best performing streams are not all 1 hour. I think it's less than that, somewhere between 20 and 60 minutes. Or you can go over if you have the spare time. So there's a trade-off here where there's a sweet spot for stream length if you want to get active engagement on the stream. But then longer streams will allow you to create more clips. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to use Opus Clip. And here's Opus Clip, opus.pro. When your stream is done and saved, you take the URL and you paste it in Opus Clip, and it uses AI to create clips, short form media content. That is what will be posted to TikTok or posted to YouTube Shorts or posted to Instagram Reels or Facebook, whatever they're called, Reels or Shorts. There are these short form media outlets, and the audience is different. Here's the interesting thing. You might think YouTube audience is YouTube audience. False. The YouTube short audience is a different group than the YouTube long form video and the YouTube stream audience. They're actually 3 entirely different audiences, and they don't cross over much. Let's see if I can just take you over to my YouTube analytics briefly. So let's go into my own analytics just so you can see what I'm talking about. Is it going to be manage videos button? Analytics. Okay, so we have these viewers. The iPhone app for YouTube Analytics is really, really great. Audience. So what I want to show is that there isn't much overlap, okay? I don't know if I'm going to be able to see this. These crossover analytics. Yeah, formats your viewer watches. Why are they just all purple? This seems wrong. This seems like messed up currently. Okay. That's not going to be helpful to us. Somewhere there's a view where you're able to see the crossover, and I'm going from memory here because I couldn't see it clearly just there, but it's like it's like under 5% of my short form video people actually go watch streams. So it's like an under 5% cross channel, even on the same platform of YouTube. Okay, so you cut up these Opus clips, and depending on, so you've done a stream that's somewhere between 30 and say 120 minutes, somewhere in that range, and you're doing this once a week. Then you're cutting up clips, and then you will get maybe 1 clip per minute. These are not minute-long clips. You can tell Opus to select like 30-second clips. Let me just pick a URL here just to show you. So here, I'm going to set this. It has a couple models. You can try them both out. And here you can pick what section of the video that you want it to analyze, and then you can do the clip length here. Here I usually choose let AI detect the kind of video that it is. I'm not sure. So I do these sort of lecture style videos as you're seeing now. Does this count as a podcast? Probably. Or is it informative and educational? I'm not really sure. So I just say let AI detect, and it works fairly well. But I will often come over here and select the under 30 seconds marker. There's a different technique you can try. This doesn't work best for me, but it may work well for you, so you can try it out. You can pick 90 to 3. You can pick these segments which are larger than 1 minute, because once you exceed a minute, YouTube will categorize your video as a long form video as opposed to a short form video. Even if it's vertically oriented, it will still put it on the channel page, this tab for videos, as opposed to this tab for shorts. And that may be advantageous for you if you're trying to become a YouTube partner, because they have different watch time requirements for short form video content versus long form video content. So I think it will reduce your overall performance if you choose these longer form video settings. I think Opus Clips is going to be optimized, and you're going to do better on these short form channels with the under 30 seconds. But if you're trying to just milk a little more watch time to get you over that partner status threshold, then that could be something for you to try out, to pick one of these longer forms. Okay, so now you have these shorter ones, and you can post them to your channel of choice. And what I typically do here, let me go to one of these videos. I'll go ahead and show you. More than 10 search techniques. So here, publish on social, and you can see I have it connected to LinkedIn and X and TikTok. And the reason for that is if I post to TikTok, it will kick off this cascade where the other tool, Repurpose, will see and post it to other outlets. LinkedIn, I exempt from that cascade. And the reason is I want to have tighter tone control on LinkedIn so that you could post silly, funny things on LinkedIn. Your mileage may vary. It's actually gotten more acceptable over time. It used to be considered rather distasteful. These days it's fine. But for me, I do adopt a slightly more serious tone on LinkedIn anyway, just because I felt that my personal social network was getting exhausted by the jokes and stuff on LinkedIn. It didn't do particularly poorly, but it also didn't do well. And I just personally felt that I was being noisy. So that's going to vary on your taste a bit. But I basically tell people that are in my social network, if you want to see everything, like the raw and the unfiltered, check out TikTok or YouTube Shorts. And if you want a little lower volume, a little more like businessy, check out my LinkedIn. And again, I might be a little bit old school in that mindset because these days people are posting just hilarious memes to LinkedIn. And for some people, they're doing quite well. They just didn't do well for me when I was monitoring my own analytics. When we get to the other influencer tips, one of them will basically tell you, do jokes on LinkedIn. That's a little foreshadowing. He thinks it's underrated. So they're doing very well for him. Okay. And then Twitter, for whatever reason, I think I just didn't connect it to the repurpose cascade properly. And so I do that one manually as well. But the main intent here is that I will be serious on LinkedIn. And so I'm going to pick that by hand. And then automatically I will go to TikTok. And let me tell you two more things about this TikTok integration. You can see the distinction here between inbox and feed. Feed means the video will be immediately published. People will be able to watch it within like 5 seconds. Inbox means that it's going to be posted as a draft on TikTok, and then I can go into TikTok, and TikTok has some editing tools. So sometimes I will post something to my inbox and edit it on the TikTok side. There are some editing tools here. There's also a scheduling option. So when you run your stream and then Opus will clip it, let's say that you have 30 clips that are generated. I personally do not use all the clips that are generated. I usually like to look at those that have a score over 80, and then I pretty much ignore the ones that are under 80. Sometimes I'll only look at 85 and above. It's really just whenever I feel like the quality is falling off and it's not worth me watching them. Like it's not even worth watching for 30 seconds to see if it's any good. And so there's not like a fixed number. The AI tool will scan, and based on its arbitrary rule set, it will pick out what it thinks is high quality and score it. And so I'm looking through here for those that are above 80 or 85, and I'm watching them. And there are rudimentary editing tools here in Opus Clip. And these have gotten better over time, and I expect them to continue to get better. So you can adjust the clip time frame a little bit if you want to. You can adjust, like, you see how this text is purple? You can adjust that as well. You can fix typos. So laterally, which is spelled this way, is often transcribed this way. So I will often go in and fix that spelling. So there are some editing options available on Opus Clip. And so sometimes I'll do the editing here, and sometimes I will do it on the TikTok side using my phone. Why might I prefer to use my phone for TikTok? The answer would be if I'm on the go. So Opus Clip editing tools currently only work on the desktop. So if I am on the go, if I'm on the road, I will publish from Opus Clips to my TikTok inbox, and then the TikTok editing tools work on the phone. Okay, so there's a few tips there. Once it's gotten published to my TikTok feed, either directly from Opus Clip or it goes to the TikTok inbox, I edit it there and push to my feed. Once it goes on the feed, now Repurpose is going to be watching it. And Repurpose does not have a free tier, okay? So if you want to do the no-cost version of this, you don't get the automatic repurposing. You will need to go... I don't even think you get the Opus Clip, do you? I don't think there's a free tier Opus Clip. So... yeah, Restream has the free tier, and then you would need to clip by hand. I can recommend CapCut for that. CapCut is available for free, and so if you want to do the zero cost option, you do your stream, and then you use CapCut, and then you manually clip it yourself, as opposed to having AI do it for you. So that's going to take more time, but $0 out of your pocket. Okay, and then you go paste it, and then you go post it to TikTok, and with the CapCut approach, you will manually post it to TikTok, and then YouTube Shorts, and then the LinkedIn Shorts, and then the Facebook and Instagram Reels. You'll post to all these channels using your own brute force of time. I think that Repurpose is a fantastic investment, even at $30 a month. Even if you're like a junior engineer or an intern, if you can spare it, I think the time savings is like a great deal there. But you have the free option if you want to just use your own time instead of cash. So let's say that you do come over here to repurpose, and now I'll log in and show you. You basically set up, and you can log in with Google, sure. I hope it doesn't make me like validate or anything. Okay, and so you set up these connectors or these workflows. And you can see the way that I have it set up is that when it reads on Facebook, it will post over to YouTube Shorts. And then when it reads on YouTube Shorts, it will post over to Insta. And then when it reads on Insta, it will post over to Facebook Shorts. And then I guess I do the Insta and the LinkedIn concurrently. Okay? And you can toggle these off if you want to. But that's basically the cascade for me. That's the way it works. So I'm doing my stream on YouTube, I'm clipping it, I'm pushing it into TikTok, and then it goes through all of these different channels. And that's basically the secret sauce to the volume, the secret sauce to getting the high volume. There's one additional tactic besides that. So those are the core tools. And the additional tactic is if your videos do well, post them again. So this is sometimes called the evergreen method. I've heard it called the circulation method or the recirculation method, but I Googled that and I couldn't find any articles. There are just some people on TikTok, I guess, that call this the recirculation method. Basically, you identify your best clips and then you post them, every month or two. And they will do very well. There's a little bit of data analysis. Let's see if I can bring you this article. So here's Thomas. I do not know who this person is, but this is a person that I found that used the keyword recirculation and they had some data analysis. And I thought this was interesting. So you see that they had a piece of content and they posted it again and again. And it did a little bit worse each time, but it still had significant performance each time. And the decrease in performance was a decreasing decrease, so that it decreased by 1.2 and then it decreased only by 1. And so maybe next time it'll decrease by less than 1. And so you will get to some constant level of performance. And that's the idea, is that you can identify content, which we call like evergreen content, which you can just post over and over. And it doesn't like go viral every time, but you'll get some level of consistent performance out of it. And that's another way that you can up your volume. So that if I stream for 3 weeks and then I clip it, then I have, let's say, 3 sets of clips, but the evergreen stash is growing. It's growing so that I don't just have evergreen ones from my latest, but actually across all 3. It's this growing snowball of content. So that's another way to unlock a large volume of content. And so now we're getting into the non-core tools. So how do I identify my best performers? Well, Latterly has an open source tool for this. So Latterly is open source. You can go to latterly.io and GitHub is in the footer. Currently, so you'll look for the scripts folder. This is currently under Blitz app. In the future that will may change, but you'll be looking for the YouTube transcriber. And so there's a README. This is a little bit technical. This won't be for everyone, but if you're technical, you can read through the README, set it up, and it basically looks at your YouTube analytics. Again, we want YouTube to drive this thing. In the future, maybe it can look at multiple channels and say this content doesn't only do well on YouTube, it does well across channel. That'll be great, but at the moment, it's looking at YouTube. And basically, the main thing that you're going to want to look at is this report.py, and it will tell you your best performers, and then you can go download those and then post them wherever you want. You can post them again to YouTube or post them to TikTok and have it go down the cascade, whatever you want. Okay, and this is open source, so the feature set here can grow. I'm recording in October 2024. In the future, there may be even more things that it can do. And I already haven't told you everything that it can do, but that's kind of the main one that's interesting for this video. But if you're a programmer, feel free to contribute features. Okay, so it's optional to use those reports. Otherwise, there's all sorts of ways you can figure out your best videos. You can just go to TikTok and just sort by views. It's like not the most elegant way to do it, but you can get a quick look at your top videos. There's other ways to do these things. So non-core tools, I like to use those reports. Another is a monetizable target. So I'm driving, like I'm getting all these views. Why? You want to drive the eyes somewhere. And so what I would recommend you do is drive people ultimately to your LinkedIn. And so you're going to grow your LinkedIn social network. And the question is, how many steps do you put in their way? Okay. So one school of thought would be 0 steps. Put 0 steps in their way. I want to maximize my LinkedIn size. So I'm just going to put my LinkedIn in my bio. And then in your videos, you can include a call to action verbally or through the text, and have people visit your bio and have people add you on LinkedIn. And you can put your LinkedIn directly in the bios of your social media channels. What I do instead is I have what I call a social homepage, which is basically 2 things. So it is a step in the way. It slows people from getting to my LinkedIn, but it allows them to see all my social channels. So the trade-off I'm making is that they might add me in multiple places and they might check out these links. So I am equally interested in driving traffic to Latterly.io. This site in front of us is another open source social home. Okay, and so you can go download it and you can use it. You can customize it, change the colors, change the links. And this will reduce your LinkedIn growth a little bit, but then you'll get all this other kind of growth. So for me, it's worth it. And you can do a couple things with this. One is it doubles as a portfolio. So this social home, pay attention to the URL. I'm going to click portfolio highlights. And notice that the domain didn't change. So this is a 2-in-1. It's a social media contact and a GitHub portfolio. So you can have a pure portfolio that just shows off your technical projects if you want to, but I personally use this. And I would probably encourage you to use this as well. So it's a portfolio. It gives them access to my LinkedIn and my other socials. It lets them click on Latterly and some other projects. And I have the opportunity to potentially monetize if they go use my referral links for Robinhood. If I'm smart, so you're watching a social media video, and if I'm smart, I will soon update either the current video or this page or some other resource with referral links that I do have for Opus, and I'm not sure if I have one for Repurpose or Restream. I think I do. I think I have them for all of them. Keep an eye out for that. Ideally, it will give you a discount. Cool. And so that is a way that you can monetize. You can also just create a website. So besides referral links, you can just have some monetizable target. So Latterly itself has a free tier, but it also has paid options. And you can swap out the links for whatever you want, right? So you could, if you build a website which is monetizable, you could offer that thing here, basically. This is optional, or you can just drive them directly to your LinkedIn. So this is optional. Why would you want to monetize? Jumping over to the next steps, basically so that you can justify running ads. So if you want, so I'm in the range of tens of thousands of social media subscribers, and I have good evidence at this point to indicate that a lot of people, first of all, never even get to this size, but also don't really get to that 6-7 figure without running ads. So if you do really want to take the cap off your growth and just explode your social media growth, you're going to want to run ads. But it's really hard to run ads because they're expensive. And so the way that you justify that, or you make it a smart investment, is that you have a monetizable target, you run ads, you drive traffic, and you're growing your network, and then you're having sort of, your network is growing, but there's this stream of money that's funding the ads, and that allows you to scale. So this would be something that you can optionally do downstream if you really want to focus on growing your production quality and doing all of the things that I'm not focusing on in this video. But that's basically one of the reasons that you might want to monetize, or just like spending money. I don't know, you want to go have a nice meal once a month or something, sure. Another non-core tool, Brand Ghost. The reason this is non-core is I haven't used it yet. So all of the other tools that I've mentioned, I have used. Brand Ghost is one which allegedly matches this mental model of multiplying and using sort of a circulation or evergreen approach. But I haven't used it yet. So I mention it as a non-core tool. And why do I bring it up at all? Well, now let's transition to the four tips. Basically, there's a person that I trust that is Nick. Nick's name is also Dev Leader on Twitter, and he created Brand Ghost, and so it's something I've been meaning to try out, and he recommends it. So here's Nick, aka Dev Leader. He has a website with some courses on it. Bummer, it's kind of slow, huh? Maybe it's just me. Right, and I think he is a top of industry teacher in C#, and he is a principal at Microsoft. So if you're interested in Microsoft or C#, check more of his stuff out. He also does a lot with object-oriented and testing. Okay, so he's a guy that I trust, and so that's another reason that I'm interested in Brand Ghost, and it's one of the tools that he uses. Besides building it, he also uses it and highly recommends it. Okay, what about these other tips? Well, here's my tip. Start with streams. I've kind of already told you about this. So start with streams. Auto-clipping and repurposing tools allow media to have a multiplied effect these days. Get started by recording a live stream and don't bother about mastering editing software up front. By the way, if you want to raise your game, that is one of the things that you can do. Is when you're raising your production quality, you can learn how to edit video, or if you're monetizing, you can just pay an editor that you might find through Fiverr or some social media editor. There's a big competitor to Fiverr, right? Upwork. Upwork is the other one. So these kind of like freelancer hiring sites, you can very often do kind of what I'm doing, which is like a minimally edited stream here. But I could send it over to one of them and they could add a nice intro. They could cut it up, clip out the ums, add B-roll, add animation, add graphics. It really depends how much you want to pay them. But there are very capable people on those sites, but it can get expensive. Okay. Cool. So I say, like, do that later. Mr. Beast is obviously, do you know who Mr. Beast is? I hope you know who Mr. Beast is. He was the biggest YouTuber, is the biggest YouTuber. He's a massive YouTuber. Okay, so over 300 million subscribers. Who is the biggest YouTuber? Okay, so he's still number one. So Mr. Beast, and this is not his picture. That's hilarious. This is Mr. Beast. Jimmy is what he goes by. And he's often busy making videos, right? He's a huge YouTuber. So he's often busy making videos. He doesn't have many videos on how to make the video because he's often just busy making the video. But he does have some advice for content creators. Seek him out. It's very, very good stuff. And he has my single favorite tip across like all of the content creators that I've ever heard. And his tip is super simple. His tip is make 100 videos and let each video do one thing better than the last. So I think this is really accessible and it allows people to dive right in. Your first video will be low quality and that's okay. Just do one thing slightly better. And by the time you get to video number 100, you can look back and go, whoa, I'm way better. And this has been true for me. This has been true for me. So that's a tip from Mr. Beast. Nick, I gave you Nick's tip, and then he also says consistency is required, but consistency is repetition and time. And so hopefully I've given you a low effort strategy that you can do here with the streams. And then because it's low effort, I'm encouraging you to do this over a prolonged period of time. I think it is feasible for you to get over 1,000 followers, probably like perhaps thousands of followers. But I want to be conservative with my commitments. I think it's quite feasible for you to get over 1,000 followers across social media channels if you keep this up for 6 to 12 months. And then laterally, so my own experience, I have gained over 30,000 followers, and it has taken me, I don't know, something like 2 or 3 years, something like that. Again, all organic, no paid ads, 20 or 30,000 followers, 15 million views, and many inbound opportunities, interview requests, and so on. So my emphasis will be leveraging this for career growth. it has absolutely helped me succeed in that regard. And if I wanted to, I could spend the money on ads. I just haven't wanted to. I have some attachment to organic earned views. And the reason for that is because it gives me a good signal on the product quality of Laterally. So I'm more interested in improving the product quality of Laterally than I am maximizing eyeballs or revenue at this time. And so I'm willing to spend more time, frankly, more time that is even a profit optimizing investment, because my time is really expensive. But I do it anyway because I'm just passionate about it. Basically, I'm passionate about Laterally. But in the near future, I will start running ads. So follow for that. And do send me feedback. So you can, I don't know if I made a note on here, but you can send me feedback at any of my social channels that I've mentioned so far. I'll be at John Vanderveer on Twitter and on TikTok, john@laterally.io. So as I say, I'll be doing ads soon. If you would like a video course on how I do ads, I'll be A/B testing, collecting data as I always do. Happy to share those results. Let me know if you're interested. I'm also welcoming feedback on today's current course. Okay, and besides Nick, so he's saying keep it, there's sort of a cumulative interest effect over time, right? And I won't lecture you with the fact that cumulative interest is extremely powerful over periods of time. And so last here is Zach Wilson, a big fan of this guy, founder of Data Expert, really smart guy. And he says, one man's shitpost is another man's treasure. And this is true. I often, when I'm posting Monday through Friday and I'm posting to TikTok, Monday through Friday, it can just be something I did at work that day. For you, if you're a student, it might just be something you learned today. What did you do? What did you learn? Just share your experiences. That will do very well. And Monday through Friday, I'm often sharing technical experiences. But on the weekends, I like to relax and I like to talk about it because I want to emphasize work-life balance, right? And so it continues to surprise me how just like something random I'm doing when I'm going out to a restaurant or eating or, you know, cracking a joke about coffee. So these would be what I consider to be lower value posts, and they will very often go and get thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views. And who knows why? Like Gary Vaynerchuk will say this and I'll echo it, which is we can control being consistent. Striving to go viral every time is a fool's errand. Strive to be consistent and let the virality take care of itself. And then you can backwards analyze and go, oh, like between these like 5 times it went viral, maybe I should be doing more 7-second meme videos as one example. So you can retrospect, and I encourage that. But even retrospecting many cases, like other things will do well. And it's just like, it seems to go well for some novel reason. And it's often what I would consider to be a low quality video, but apparently other people like it. So very true. And as I say, this is even becoming a trend on LinkedIn, where in the past, posting jokes to LinkedIn might have been considered a bit taboo. These days, it's routine. It's absolutely routine these days. I just have been refraining because I felt I was too noisy, not because I felt that the quality of content was inappropriate. So even my jokes, I have no problem posting jokes on LinkedIn. I just kind of ratchet back the volume. And then, yeah, I do tend to pick what I think will be my best performers. And my bias is to pick those things which are information dense. And I'm probably shooting myself in the foot because the jokes do very well in terms of views and watch time, etc., and shares and engagement. Okay, I think that is all the tips that I have for you. One more time, john@laterally.io, at John Vanderveer on Twitter and TikTok. I look forward to your feedback. Thank you for being here. I wish you success. Feel free to add me on LinkedIn and so forth as well. You can start by growing your social media network by adding